Right, so now we've had a look at all of the techniques and you've drawn out your honeybee. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look at using the techniques we've learned to paint it. Okay, so we're going to start off with the head section first of all, and as you can see I've painted half of it already. I'm going to cover the other half with you and then you're going to get some time to do your head. Okay, so I'm going to start with this brown, dark browny colour, and I'm going to use it quite watery because I'm going to use this to plot out the shapes of things that I see. So looking at this side of my bumblebee's head, I can see all of this section here is quite a light browny colour, up to the point where it sort of meets the centre of the head up there. And I've got where I've marked out this little light section in the centre here. I'm just going to paint around the edge of, and I'm going to leave that white. And then there's sort of a brown line that meets up with the eye there. And then we've got this yellowy section in the centre where there is some brown stuff that happens, but I'm not going to put that in yet because I need to paint the yellow one first. This then comes into the eye section over here where we have this very, very dark patch, but there's sort of like, again, a white highlight that happens there. So I'm going to leave that, and then there's sort of greyish curved line that is left white there as well. So then the rest of that, just to start me off with my tones so I can get some detail in and I know what I'm doing, I'm going to go and paint that in brown, except for the top edge up here, which I'm going to sort of fade off, and I'm going to bring some yellow ochre colour in at the top there. And the lovely thing is about watercolour, if you ever forget to do a part, or you miss a part, or you're struggling with a part, you can always put water back on top and dab it off with a bit of tissue paper, and you can just lighten it back up that way, and then paint back on top. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start building up with this brown, painting the darker tones that I see. So I can see that's darker there. And then I'm going to get a bit of water, clean water, wipe my paintbrush off at the edge so I'm not flooding the page, and just sort of blend that out at the edge. There, a bit like that. And then I think I need to build it back up a little bit further because it's gone a bit far with the blending. So I can just build it up in layers until I feel sort of happy with it. And I'm going to do the same underneath here, going darkening up the sections that I see as darker. Through all the bits that I've already painted brown. And then where I'm stopping with that dark brown, swiping off my brush, doing a little smudgy blend with it, just a bit of clean water. Until I'm happy that I've got some of the right sort of tones in. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm now going to be brave enough to start with my black, so I'm going to add my black to that. So then where I see it looking very, very black, I'm going to go and start painting some of that in. Very carefully around the edges of my highlights. And then again, just getting some of my water, maybe a tiny bit of that browny colour, just to blend those sections out. Blend it in with what's already there. And then this section here actually looks grey to me anyway. So I'm just going to go and put a little bit of that tone in there to sort of blend that in. And then the same here, I'm just going to get a little bit of the brown, a little bit of water on to blend that in. Hint along here as well, blend it in. Just like that. Okay, so then I kind of feel confident with those sections. I'm going to move into this section here. So for this section here, I'm going to start with yellow. And again, I don't want it to be too strong. I want it to be quite light. So mixing it up with some water. And then I'm just going to go and paint across the full section with the yellow. And I can even extend that into this nose section bit there. And then once I've done that, this is when I can start going in with my brown again and paint in some of those different tones that I see. So I can see a sort of shape of brown goes a little bit like this, and I'm not bothered that my tone is sort of spludging out and sort of merging together and stuff like that now, because it kind of does look very smudgy and spludgy and blurry all on there anyway. So it's just helping me create the effect I want to achieve at the minute. And again, get a bit of clean water on my brush to blend out those areas. I'm going to bring a little bit of yellow ochre in. Because I can see some of that colour in there. And sort of blend it in, okay? Don't worry about the level of detail that I'm including. If you don't feel like you can go that detailed, just try and get it as close as you can. So we're just going to have a little finish off, put in some little brown bits of tones that we see in this sort of nose section up here. We can see sort of little highlights and lowlights of brown up there. So I'm putting the strongest tones in. And then again, just a little bit of clean water to fade out around, making some of the lighter tones that I can see then in and around it. And again, I'm not bothered if it's going a bit splodgy and a bit smudgy, because that all looks splodgy and smudgy to me. So the last little bit we need to deal with is the antenna. So what I'm doing for this is I'm getting a very, very watery brown, and I'm going to go and I'm going to paint the different sections in. So there's a whole section there that I can see, and then there's sort of a little lump and a lump, and then there's a whole section I can see for the top of the antenna there, and the bits in between are sort of paler. Okay, so I'm going to paint those little bits in. Then I'm going to go in with a much stronger darker brown. I'm going to paint where I see it getting dark. So see it getting dark along that sort of back side of the antenna. The same here, and then just a little splodge of that in each of those. And then I'm going to get my black and do the same again. So the black, I see it darker. Along the back of each of those sections, okay? And then once you've done that, that's your bumblebee head finished.